Hey everybody, Marston here, back again with another video. So as you can see from the title, this is about a time where and you're probably wondering who's he, and that he would be Jared. That's right, the kid from the second prom video. If you haven't seen that video already, basically he was a school bully, and he was mean to one of my friends, all that, but at one point, I mentioned this in that video, the prom video, that at one point, I was friends with him, even though he picked on me for having ADHD when he first met me. But he said sorry, and I was like, don't worry about it, bro. Alright, now that we're a little caught up to speed here, I can dive into the story. So, I was in 8th grade when the story happened. I think it was like March of 2014. It was around that time. And when I was 14, it was pretty normal for the most part. I was in middle school, just doing regular middle school stuff, hanging out with my friends on weekends. I would go to school, and that was pretty much it. I didn't work at that point in my life or anything like that. Simple times, I got to admit, I miss those days. So anyway, on this particular weekend, Jared hits me up. He's like, bro, like, I am looking to hang out with someone this weekend. I don't got anything to do. Like, can we hang out? And I'm like, alright, sure, whatever, fine. And he's like, yeah, bro, hell yeah. So I tell my parents, oh, my friend Jared from school wants to come over. And my parents like, alright, sounds good. But what was weird was, that particular night, my mom and Chet's mom, at this point, were, like, very good friends. And they're still friends at this point, but they're just not as close as they used to be. But they would talk to each other on the phone here and there at this point. And my mom was telling Chet's mom, oh, we're having Jared over. And Chet's mom's like, what? And then my mom's like, yeah, Jared's coming over. And I guess Chet's mom said something along the lines of, oh, we had Jared over, and it was a disaster. So my mom reports that to me. My mom's like, well, I just got off the phone with Chet's mom, and she told me you probably shouldn't hang out with Jared. Apparently, when he went over Chet's house, he was being rude, he was disrespectful, all that. He got violent and shit. But I saw past that. I was like, you know what? It was like a year or two ago, whenever it was. Who cares? But the next day at school, and mind you, this is like on a Friday, like the day before Jared's supposed to come over. I tell some of my homies, I'm like, oh yeah, Jared's coming over, all that, and side note here, Jared lived in the same town as the school was, or he lived like a town or two over. I've mentioned that before, that he'd ride in the van with Peter's date from the prom videos, and with my homie Jaden that he picked on ever since like he was a kid and they went to public school together. So a few people had hung out with him since he was so close to the school, and there'd be times where he'd just be, yo, you want to pull up? And they would just go to his house after school. Then they'd go home after a few hours. And most of the students there are even telling me, oh, dude, don't hang out with Jared. I went to his house, and I've been to his house too, I should say that. It was a very nice house. His parents were, at least to me, very, very nice. But it was an extremely big house. Like, a poor boy like me looking at it like, holy fuck, bro, I wish I had that life. But I guess what had happened with one of my homies is that he went over, and they had like this old like wooden bat thing, and I guess like my homie accidentally broke it, and his parents got like really mad, and Jared got very violent with Chet. That's the homie that went over. So I'm having more doubtful thoughts now, but I was still like, it should be fine, whatever. Because back then I was kind of, like, fuck around and find out. And boy, did I find out. Alright, so you want to get to the part where I found out? Here it is. So that Saturday rolls around, and Jared pulls up to my house, and his mom just drops him off. His mom doesn't even come in the house to talk to my parents. Since that would happen a lot when I was younger, like my friends' parents would come inside the house and say, oh, hi, how are you, all that. But no, Jared's mom didn't do that. Jared's mom just, like, dipped. So right there, I was kind of like, maybe they're right, but I was still trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, since I was that type of person. So he walks in, like I said, and at first everything's normal. We're just playing video games, we're having a good time, and I'm like, huh, yeah, this isn't that bad. But then my dad comes in my room, and he's like, oh, I got you guys some pizza, some breadsticks, some pasta. And funny enough, it's actually the same pizza place I mentioned in my last video about being both high and drunk in the same time, or second to last video, I think. And we go downstairs, and Jared looks at me like something's wrong. I'm like, what's wrong? Like, do you not like pizza? Like, I've seen you have pizza before. And he's like, no, dude, just that something's missing. I'm like, what's missing? But he's like, dude, like, where's the wings at? I'm like, my dad got you your own personal pasta, a big ass pizza, and a big ass thing of breadsticks. Like, what else could you want? He's like, I want the wings. And my dad walks over, like, is everything okay? And Jared says to my dad's face, why didn't you order me wings? And the shock on my dad's face, bro, was insane. My dad was like, what? Then he's like, yeah, where's the wings? I thought there'd be wings here. And my dad's like, I'm sorry. Like, my dad wanted to make sure he heard him correctly. He did, but he wanted to make sure he wasn't just, like, imagining it. And he's like, yeah, like, where's the wings? Jared was like. And my dad was like, oh, I didn't order any. And he goes, why not? But he's like, I thought that'd be enough. And Jared, oh my God, this pisses me off so fucking much to this day. He says to my dad, well, what's here isn't good enough. And I look at my dad like, holy fuck. And my dad gives me like that hand gesture, like, can I talk to you in private? So he's like, what the fuck, man? Like, does he always act like this? And I'm like, well, people were telling me that, but I didn't think he actually would. And he was like, oh my God. I was like, look, just tell him that this is all we have, and if he doesn't like it, he can leave. I give you permission. So he does just that. He's like, all right, here's the food I have bestowed upon you. If you don't like it, I'll contact your mother. I'll have Marston call your mom, whatever, and you can leave. And Jared just rolls his eyes and is like, all right, whatever, fine. So after we go up to my room, and little important part, before we go up to my room, my dad pulls me aside, like, if he says anything about me or your brother or even you to you, you let me know. I don't appreciate the way he's talking to me, the way he's talking to my son, none of that. I was like, yeah, no problem. So we go into my room, and we're just playing video games like we was before. But after that, this kid proceeds to grab my Xbox controller and start doing like this weird like fidget thing with it. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, don't play with the joystick too much. That's going to mess it up. And then he's like, dude, just shut up. I was like, Jared, you're pushing my buttons here, bro. Stop. And my brother walks in the room. And my brother just wanted the game with us. But Jared's like, no, get out, get out. And my brother's like, why? I just want a game with you guys. And then this motherfucker Jared decides to tackle my brother. And I mean, he fucking tackles him. And mind you, at this point, me and Jared are like 15, 14 years old. My brother's literally 11. Like, my brother's literally like 4 feet tall at this point. Like, he's very, very short. But Jared doesn't care. Jared decides to, like I said, tackle him onto the floor. And my brother's like freaking out. Like, he's yelling for my dad, all that. And my dad comes running up the stairs. But as my dad's doing that, Jared takes like this knee hockey stick, or like this, yeah, it was like knee hockey. It's basically like this tiny little plastic hockey stick thing. And he takes it, he breaks that. But as he breaks that, he breaks my TV. I was like, dude, what the fuck? My dad makes it up the stairs. And he's like, what the hell is going on here? My brother tells him. My brother's like, dude, this guy literally just tackled me. He broke the knee hockey stick. He threw it at the TV. Like, what the fuck? And my dad is pissed. He was the type of guy that was extremely chill. Like, it would take a a lot to make him mad, but if you piss him off, bro, holy hell, bro. Like, you're gonna wish you didn't. My dad screams at him, like, get the fuck out of my house. I don't ever want you here again. And I walk Jared out. I'm like, dude, get out. Like, I agree. I was like, dude, just get the fuck out. So Jared's waiting outside for his mom. And I see his mom pick him up. His mom knocks on our door. And at this point, my mom's home too. She goes up to my parents, like, why are you kicking him out? Like, what did he do? And my dad tells her. My dad's like, well, Jared thought it'd be a fun idea to disrespect me after I got him free food, break my son's stuff, and tackle my younger son. Like, what the fuck? And Jared's mom's all defensive. Jared's mom's like, oh, like, that's just how he is. Like, he must have not taken his meds, all that. And my parents are both like, I don't care if he didn't take his meds. I don't care what your excuse is. We're asking you to leave nicely. So, honestly, I'll say this. Jared's mom was like, alright, fine. Jared and his mom just leave. And when they leave, I look at both of my parents and I'm like, what the fuck was that? And my mom's like, I told you. You should have listened to Chet's mom. You should have listened to your friends. And I was like, yeah, I should have. That was terrible. Come that following Monday, I see some of my homies, and I tell them, like, you guys were right about Jared. Should have never invited them over. I told them everything that happened, and all my friends like, yep, told you. And at that same lunch period, Jared walks over to me, and he's like, so, am I not allowed over? I'm like, yeah, dude, get the fuck out of my face. Like, I literally told him that at the lunch table. And then he proceeds to snitch on me, and yep, I got a detention for that. Whatever. Even though I told the dean, like, oh yeah, he's been doing this, doing that to me. But the dean didn't care. The dean was like, nope, I don't care. Detention. So I took it with pride. And of course, my parents didn't care. My parents are like, you were just seeing that for yourself, whatever. Just don't associate with him. So that's pretty much what I did. Like, I'd have classes with him if we had a group project together. I'd be nice to him. Like, I'd respond. I'd be, yep, this is what we got to do, all that. But that was it. Alright, so what I'm going to say before I end this video is don't be like Jared. Don't be ungrateful, especially when your buddy's parents buy you things and when your friend invites you over. Alright, that's going to be a cut for this video. There will be another one tonight. I have a list of videos that I post on my notepad thing. I'm going to literally spin a wheel, so it'll be a surprise. But for now, peace.